It so happened. Supplementary Reader in English for Class 8. Page 81, Chapter 10. The Comet 2. Part 1. Dattada is invited to the secret conference. How to change the course of Comet Datta is the scientist's hidden agenda. Dattada and the defense advisor become close friends and share a secret. By the time they finished their deliberations and Sir John dropped him at his hotel off Regent Street, it was 1 a.m. There was hardly any crowd on the street, but when James looked up from his window, a star-studded night sky greeted him. Somewhere amongst these stars was Comet Datta heading for a collision with the Earth. It was hard to believe the calamity of the future on such a peaceful night. For a moment, James wondered if he had done his sums right. Whatever doubt James may have had about Sir John's efficiency were quickly dispelled when he reported for the conference and found that all the experts listed by him were there. Astronomers, computer scientists, nuclear physicists, space technologists, biologists, all were there. And as Sir John's special invitee was present the man who had started it all, Manoj Datta. The conference lasted 1 week and it went on under total cover of secrecy. First, the experts checked and rechecked James Fawcett's calculation with the latest observations of Comet Datta. Page 82. He was right. There was no escape from the direct hit predicted by him. There was a small chance that the comet may just graze the atmosphere of the Earth and not collide. In that case, the loss of life and property would not be total. But this slight respite was hardly reassuring enough for taking no action. Having decided that some action was needed, what form should it take? The experts dismissed defensive measures like living in underground bunkers. It was simply not a practical proposition. So, the only course was to take offensive action. Comet Datta could be marginally deflected from its path by giving it a push. The experts calculated that the bulk of the destructive nuclear power available on the Earth would be needed to achieve this mammoth task. A gigantic nuclear explosion, suitably placed, suitably directed, and suitably timed, could do the trick. This could be done by placing the nuclear payload in a spaceship, sending it to intercept the approaching comet, and detonating it by remote control. Success or failure, secrecy must be preserved. Finally, a timetable was drawn up for the operation which was code-named Project Light Brigade. The important dates in it were October 10th, dispatch the spacecraft with the payload unless by then the comet is already destroyed by natural causes or has changed its path due to unforeseen reasons. November 15th, rendezvous with the comet and detonation of the payload. December 15th, if the experiment failed, this was the day the comet would hit the Earth. If succeeded, this was the day the comet would pass by at a near but safe distance. The success of the experiment depended on how massive the comet was. Nobody could estimate. Everybody hoped that it was not very massive. Do you think we will succeed? Dattada asked Sir John Macpherson for his opinion. During the week, the two had developed considerable affinity for each other. Word meaning: respite means relief. Intercept means here stop or block. Detonating means setting it off, making it explode. Payload means equipment. Rendezvous, pronounced as rendezvous, means meeting place. Page 83. Mr. Datta, I will give you an honest answer. I'm not buying any Christmas presents till December 15th. Dattada toured the British Isles for 2 weeks after the conference, and he had a pleasant time visiting observatories and exchanging views with amateur as well as professional astronomers. On his return, he was greeted by the inevitable vast crowd of friends, social leaders, students, and the usual hangers-on. Loaded with garlands and bombarded by questions from the press, he somehow made his way to the waiting car. Comprehension check. Question 1. For a moment, James wondered if he had done his sums right. Why was James doubtful about his sums and calculations? Question 2. What did the scientists at the conference say about James' sums? Question 3. Immediate action was needed, the scientists decided. Give one example of each defensive and offensive action mentioned in the text. Question 4. I am not buying any Christmas presents till December 15th. What did Sir John mean by that? Part 2. Dattada returns home to a warm welcome and a ceremony which is not a scientist's delight. A secret communication sends him rushing to the local sweet shop. Indrani Devi says that Khoka, their 8-year-old grandson, has saved the world. Her husband is seriously puzzled. Arriving home, he found another crowd gathered under a pandal. He glanced questioningly at Indrani Devi. Surely she knew how he hated crowds. Indrani, obviously uneasy, offered the explanation. I have arranged a yajna and called priests to bless you. But why? Just because I left the shores of India? You know it is no longer a taboo. And in any case, you know my views on these meaningless rituals. Word meaning: hangers on, meaning people in a meeting, etc., usually uninvited, who try to appear very friendly with important people. Taboo, something not permitted for religious, social or cultural reasons. Page 84. Indrani Devi looked at Sibaji Babu, the younger brother of her husband. Sibaji Babu coughed and explained, We have all been very disturbed since you discovered the comet. Guruji recommended a Shanti Yajna to pacify the evil spirit behind the comet. We are all waiting for you to perform the yajna. May I know what specific advantage there is in this ceremony? Dattada was outwardly calm. The comet you have discovered will not cause any ill effects on the earth. At this remark, Dattada blew up. Don't you know that this is all superstition? It could be condoned in the olden times when man did not know what comets were. Not so in modern times. Comets are known for what they are. Their movements are forecast precisely by mathematical calculations, and it is clearly established by statistical studies that their visits have no correlations with disasters on Earth. All this is of course futile on my part to explain. You and the likes of you never read even the elementary books on science. Sibaji Babu gently interjected. But our wise forefathers recommended such yajnas. Since his return from London, Dattada was in regular correspondence with Sir John Macpherson. Their friendship had grown out of their appreciation for each other's virtues. Sir John admired Dattada's scientific outlook, while the latter admired the former's discipline and efficiency. Their correspondence never mentioned the Project Light Brigade, although once in a while Sir John would hint at its progress in a subtle manner that Dattada would understand. Meanwhile, Comet Datta was following its predicted path. In due course, it developed its tail. It circled around the sun without breaking apart, nor did it evaporate. The scientists on Project Light Brigade therefore knew that the threat of collision was now very much real. In the middle of October, Dattada got a letter from Sir John. Word meaning: correlations means connections. Futile means useless, in vain. Page 85. In the midst of descriptions of the meeting of the Royal Astronomical Society, the unseasonably warm weather, the opening matches of the football season, and a recent by-election, Dattada spotted the sentence he was eagerly looking for. The charge of the Light Brigade has begun. Let us hope for the best. So the spacecraft had been launched on time. But will it achieve the rendezvous in time and at the right place? Will the remote control detonation work? What if the gigantic nuclear pile fails to fire? Dattada could not share his anxieties with anyone around him. He had to participate in and outwardly enjoy the puja ceremonies, the Diwali celebration, and other festivals. His sole daytime relaxation was in the company of Khoka, his 8-year-old grandson, and of course, at night looking through Dibya. He was regularly monitoring the comet, now clearly visible even to the naked eye. On November 18th, a special messenger on a scooter from the British Council brought in an urgent telex message for him. The telex operator in Calcutta had wondered what was so special about it to make it so urgent. But on reading it, Dattada lost all his lethargy and rushed to his favorite rasgulla shop. The message read, "I am confident now of buying my Christmas presents on December 15th. John Macpherson." On December 15th, Comet Datta came closest to the Earth at a distance of 80,000 kilometers. Millions saw it and admired it. Only a handful knew how close they had come to a total annihilation. When the comet had gone far away and was seen no more, Dattada felt it safe to make the following comment to his wife. "Now that the comet came and went, are you satisfied that no major disaster took place that can be attributed to it?" "I agree that there has been no major disaster, but there could have been some. Do you know how they were averted?" Indrani Devi said with quite confidence. Word meaning: lethargy, meaning laziness. Annihilation, meaning total destruction. Attributed, meaning can be put down to, be the result of. Page 86. Dattada looked at her. Did she know? How could she? He had never mentioned Project Light Brigade to her. He probed cautiously. "I don't understand what you mean." "It is very simple. There were no disasters because of the yajna at our house." "But I never performed the yajna." "Don't you remember? I refused to have anything to do with it." "Of course I do. But we found a way out. At least Guruji did. He said that if you were unwilling to perform the yajna, it would be all right if a descendant of yours did it. So we got Khoka to deputize for you. And it has worked. Isn't Guruji clever?" Indrani's voice had a ring of triumph. Dattada formed a mental picture of Khoka performing the yajna, uttering mantras dictated to him, which he did not understand, pouring ghee at specified intervals into fire, offering flowers. Word meaning: descendant, a close relative, children or grandchildren. Deputize, meaning act on your behalf. Page 87. And then the picture changed to an assembly of scientists at the conference analyzing the problem, devising solutions and executing them rationally and efficiently. It seemed hard to believe that both pictures were different aspects of contemporary human society. Dattada was aware of the gulf that separates the rich from the poor, the educated from the illiterate, the privileged from the unprivileged. But this gap between the rational and the superstitious seemed to him far wider, far more sinister. Will human society ever succeed in eliminating it? Dattada did not know the answer. By Jayant Narlikar. Comprehension check. Question 1. What is Dattada expected to do on his return from London? Question 2. What is his reaction to the proposal? Question 3. 1. What does Project Light Brigade refer to? 2. What does Sir John say about the project in his letter to Dattada in October? Question 4. Did Sir John buy Christmas presents on December 15th? How did Dattada get to know about it? Question 5. Why, according to Indrani Devi, had the comet not been disastrous? Do you agree with her? Question 6. Is Dattada's general outlook 1. Rational, 2. Moral, 3. Traditional? Choose the right word. Say why you think it right. Word meaning. Contemporary, meaning of the same period, modern. Rational, meaning logical or that which has a reason. Sinister, meaning dangerous or harmful. Page 88. Exercise. Discuss the following topics in small groups. Write your answers afterwards. 1. Should a scientist's findings be suppressed if they seem disturbing? Give reasons for and against the topic. 2. Do you think ours is a traditional society? What are some of the things we do to be called traditional? Do you find these things useless or useful? 3. Give 2 or 3 examples to show how science has been useful to us. 4. Give 1 example to show how science has been misused and has as a result been harmful to us. Think it over. When a person who has never flattered you suddenly discovers all your qualities, he either wants to con you or needs something urgently from you. To con is to swindle after gaining one's trust. Be generous in complimenting others. The secret of happiness is to make others believe that they are the cause of it. It so happened. You were just listening to this audiobook.